hands up if you with it. Drop it.
Good evening, everybody. This is your host, Huge Pop, from the Huge Pop Entertainment Podcast. Tonight, we are sitting down with the one, the only Twisted Mind from WWE to the indie circus. Our guest has stories that'll make your jaw drop. He's best known for 2009 stint with WWE, where he worked at SmackDown brand as Kizarny. Please welcome Sinn Bodhi to the HPE Drop the Mic. And welcome, Rudy. Thank you for joining as well. We're going to have a fun night. We're going to hear stories about Sinn's career. We're going to talk wrestling. We're going to talk Power Slap, which I can't wait to get to. That shit looks crazy. And I want to hear all about it. So, man, thank you, Sinn, for coming on the show. Thank you, Rudy, for being part of the team. Man, Sinn, I got one question I ask everybody is, what was it like for you as a fan growing up as a kid for wrestling? You hear me? You there? Sinn. Hello?
Sinn, can you hear him? I can hear you.
I don't know if you can hear me. Sinn, are you there? Some technical difficulties. We do not edit the show, so this is what I like about Huge Pop Entertainment. Sinn, are you there? Are you hearing us?
I can hear you, Scott. I can hear you.
Rudy can hear me.
Yep.
Sinn, are you here?
It's okay. Oh,
He was on a second ago.
Yeah. Can't know if you're hearing us or not.
I don't think he can.
Sinn, are you there? I don't think he is. Bear with us, fans. Bear with us, guys. We're trying to get the technical difficulties out. I don't know if you can if you can hear us, Sinn, can you give me a thumbs up?
Let me try something here.
I don't know if he's hearing us. I don't think he's hearing us, Rudy.
No.
And I got that great introduction, and now he can't hear me. Darn it! You there?
I'm here.
I don't know where he's at.
Try this.
You hear me?
yeah, I can hear you guys.
There you go. Okay, I lost you. I don't know what
No,
happened.
I mean, no, I can't hear you guys, but I can see you guys.
You can't hear us.
I can't hear you. I could before you hit record, I guess, but
Oh, wait. Okay, so your mic.
now I can hear you.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to edit that all out. Okay, so we're going to start. Did you hear the introduction at least?
I didn't hear anything.
All right, darn it. Okay, I'm just gonna give the introduction. Good evening, everybody. It's Huge Pop Entertainment. Tonight we're sitting down with the one, the only Twisted Mind from WWE to the indie circus. Our guest has stories that will make your jaw drop. He's worked in WWE. He does this power slap stuff. Welcome to the show, Kizarny from SmackDown. Sinn Bodhi, welcome to the Drop the Mic. How you doing tonight, man?
Hey, buddy, how are you? Thanks for having me. Hey, what's up, Rudy?
No problem.
Hey, Sin, how you doing?
Good, man.
So-
What's going on?
Just trying to do it,
Copy
Oh,
that.
yeah, man. Yeah, so the first question I want to ask you, man, as a fan growing up as a kid, what was it like? What things did you like wrestling wise as a kid growing up?
I mean, it was just it was real life at its most boiled down and purest. There was good versus evil. Good got put through the mud, but always prevailed in the end, and that was just a easy way to kind of digest life. I think in real life that doesn't happen so much as it does in the movies or in wrestling or in the comic books. So my imagination was captured. It's like real life superheroes and supervillains.
Wow, that's awesome, man. Kind of an escape, right, from real life childhood.
Absolutely. I was just a scared little kid, scared of my own shadows. I grew up in a little ranch house by myself, and I rarely got to go and play with the other kids. I lived like 10 miles out of town. So, to go play on a Friday afternoon or maybe have a sleepover or something, you have to get this note and that note and get in this bus and do that and then get picked up by parents. And it was a big ordeal. It wasn't like just playing with kids after school every day until the street lights went on and you have to, just cross the street to go home. I was out in the country. So just was like a shy little introverted kid, and I was an artsy fartsy kid, and I could draw. So the comic book characters were my friends. The wrestlers on TV were my friends, kind of my imaginary friends. And then when I actually did get to go play with real little kids, like maybe on a Friday night or something, or again for a sleepover or whatever, like whether it was Edge and Christian or what have you, like growing up with those guys. But for the most part, it was just me in this little ranch house. And Saturday morning or Sunday morning, I got WWF TV and I got the pro wrestling magazines and the comic books. So that was I was sort of in some sort of imagination land, and all those characters from Spider-Man to Hulk Hogan to Roddy Piper to the Green Goblin, they all kind of kept me company.
Wow. Rudy, you got any questions for Sinn?
So, Sin, you're from Canada?
I'm originally from Canada, yep, and I am. In the last couple of years, I have become a legal dual citizen. I'm very, 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 very proud to live in the States. I love it here, and I've been here for just about, I guess, almost as long as I was in Canada. So, I mean, I really, truly love this place and like working hard here. And this country's let me follow my dreams. So here I am.
Nice, man. So
Yes, sir.
you grew up with Edge and Christian. What was that like?
Oh, those fucking assholes. I love them. They are brothers to me. Christian was the very first kid I ever remember meeting on planet Earth. We met in the sandbox in kindergarten. Adam, Edge, I met. I guess it must have been grade 3 or grade 4. And we hang out with mutual friends and watch some wrestling, and we go outside at recess, and in high school we'd go up, in our off period, and we'd go and kick the crap out of each other in the back of the schoolyard, pretending to be wrestlers. And I remember as a little kid, we would play soccer. We played soccer on this opposing teams, and I was the worst soccer player in the world. I think I scored on my own net. I was the runny, corny, drizzling shit. And so I think that maybe that's why Adam and Jay liked to play with me, because they knew they could kick my butt in soccer. And so it just growing up with those guys was always silly and fun. And I remember we were sitting on the couch together. What's that?
Did all you guys get trained by the same guy?
Originally, Ron Hutchinson was our basics trainer. Yeah.
Right. Very cool.
So did you ever take
I
a spear?
I remember sitting on a couch at another friend's house, me and Adam and Jay and this kid named Sean, and we were trying to keep our eyes awake to watch Saturday night's main event, and all of a sudden out comes Ricky Steamboat, and then out comes Jake the Snake, and Steamboat gets DDT'd on the concrete. And remember Adam and Jay were crying about it, and I just remember thinking, man, I want to be that guy giving the DDT, not taking the DDT. And I was really kind of hooked from there. I was a Jake guy from there on in.
Nice. You ever take a spear from Edge?
Nope. Nope.
Nope.
Last time I visited him at his house for his like a surprise birthday party last year, and so I was staying in his guest room, and it's the guest room where he keeps all of his edge jammies and all his like his trench coats and all his stuff. So when I went to bed, I put on all of his stuff constantly and just took all sorts of funny photos. Wearing all his stuff. It was like, remember that episode of like Friends where Joey puts on all of Chandler's outfits all at the same time and takes the photos. So I did that, and he was just like, "You asshole."
That's awesome.
I got a bunch of those photos. So if you just dig on my Facebook, if you scroll down my Facebook pictures, you'll probably see me in a ton of different funny edge jammies somewhere.
I'll have to do that. I'll do that after the show. I'll do that for sure. So go ahead, Rudy, go ahead.
What was training like, Sinn? Training under Ron?
Oh man, it was one of the hardest things I ever did. It was my first day of wrestling training was actually harder than my first black belt grading. I remember, and in that grading, that was not easy either. Like I sparred two guys at the same time, full contact. I had to smash cinder blocks with my hands, not like gimmicked kayfabe cinder blocks, like real cinder blocks. And Ron's class was still harder than that. I remember, I think next to Trish Stratus, I think I was the smallest wrestler in that whole group of dudes. And I was about 6'1", 245 pounds. And Ron said, nobody gets a water break until somebody pukes. And class isn't over until somebody quits and says, we're never coming back because I got your money. So got to thin out the herd. No refunds. And so about 3.5 hours later, somebody puked and we got a water break. And then I want to say it was 4 hours, 45 minutes in total. And somebody said, yep, screw this. I'm out. I'm not coming back. And that was our first day of wrestling class.
Wow. So first day of wrestling
Trish
class
was in your group also?
I'm sorry? What was that, Rudy? Sorry?
Trish Stratus was in your class also?
Yeah, me and Trish trained together. Yeah.
Also?
Uh-huh. Yeah. And then Gail Kim came in a little bit later. And I think I was about the only there was a couple guys that kind of survived and stayed, on the indies, like locally in that platoon of guys and girls. But out of the people that hit the road and kind of made wrestling their job was me and Gail and Tracy and Trish. So basically four divas. Ron trained 4 divas: Gail Kim, Tracy Brooks, Trish Stratus, and Sinn Bodhi. So there you go.
There you go. You called it yourself, right? So, wow. So training back when you got into the business compared to now, is there a huge difference in your opinion?
Yes, absolutely. These days, not to sound so old school and so crotchety, but these days, spare the rod, spoil the child. Like we were trained real hard, and I think we turned out, all the better for it. Like I wrestle guys to this day, or I'll teach class to this day. And I'm 52, and guys are like, well, how come they're about to puke and I'm not even sweating yet? And I'm like, well, I just, pardon my French, but I never trained like a pussy. So there's that. You got to get in what you put out.
Yeah, true. So I'm dying to ask,
that may offend some ears these days, but I mean, like, oh well, that's just you want honesty. I love this business enough to speak it honestly, and I'm going to teach it honestly, and I'm going to teach it as best I can. I'm never going to be mean to anybody, but I'm going to do them the favor of giving them all the tools I could possibly give them. And to quote Al Snow, I am responsible for what I say and do, not for what you understand. So if people are triggered by my words, then maybe punch yourself in the face, because what I'm teaching is how to, be safe, have good psychology, how to work with anybody, baby face or a heel, work on the fly, work for TV, which isn't necessarily on the fly, but I think to work on the fly, you can easily memorize any scripted TV format, but you can't do it the opposite way. It's sort of crawl, walk, leap, fly, not really the other way around.
Okay. So if we're talking about training, Is there training that goes into, because you're a recruiter for Power Slap, correct?
Yes, sir.
Is there training that goes into that, or is that just balls to the wall? You just get up there and you just do it.
There is training if you choose. You can sit on your couch and get off and go go compete, or you could really put some work in and try. And that's, I guess, that's like wrestling, that's like soccer, baseball, acting, being a rock star, being an actor, whatever it is that you're, being a lawyer, being an accountant. I guess you get into what you put out. What you put out is what you get in. So you do the work, and then you are prepared.
I don't know how you prepare to that for that. I'm sorry.
You prepare by, you strengthen your neck, you strengthen your chin. It's not like you're getting hit because you had your dukes weren't up. This is kind of weirdly caveman pure. Like, it's just your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn for 3 rounds. And may the most red-blooded caveman or cave woman win. So better be braced for impact. Like, before wrestling, I came up, with a shoot background, but I can't say that I've ever let anybody just haul off and slug me. So it takes some balls, it takes some testicular fortitude, both physically and metaphorically. Like for the girls too, like take some courage. And it's pound for pound. Weirdly, statistically, it is safer than pro wrestling. I truly love pro wrestling. I'm not knocking pro wrestling, but it's actually a lot safer than pro wrestling. There's no broken necks or torn ACLs in Power Slap. And really, there's surprisingly next to no concussions. Like, I think people mistake getting clobbered, getting knocked out with a concussion. Getting knocked out is when your chin, or something pinches your carotid for a half a second, and you rob yourself of, a moment of oxygen and turn out the lights. The party's over. Then you wake up and you're a little bit groggy for a minute, and then you're good to go. But a concussion is when you get head trauma and your brain sloshes on the inside of your skull and swells. That is a very different, very dangerous thing. And none of it's ballet. It's all
Interesting.
painful, but there's all a reasonable semblance of danger. When you leave your house, there's a reasonable
didn't know that.
expectation of danger. So and there's rules. You can't just haul off and slug a dude. Like, you've got to have your feet flat, your hand flat. There's all sorts of different kind of techniques, like the do's and don'ts. You're wearing a mouth guard and an earpiece, and all that kind of stuff. And there's a point system. So if you go a little too high, or you mismeasure, or the other side of it, if you flinch, there's penalties and what have you. And there's big money involved. So, why would you want to mess that up? And again, I love pro wrestling, but the paydays in this are just life altering. I'll use Stunt Marshall as an example. Talented guy, nice guy, creative guy. But until he went on a Power Slap, like, no disrespect whatsoever, but he was just kind of just a no-name indie guy that hadn't got an opportunity. And, so I'm guessing he's making $20, $50, $100 if he's lucky per match, if he's lucky. And the first night on Power Slap, he made 20 grand. And then he came back the month later, and then he made another 20 grand. So, for an indie wrestler to make 40 grand, especially an indie guy wrestler to make 40 grand in 2 nights, he's going to work 5 years before he ever makes that kind of money as an indie wrestler, maybe longer, and now, like that clip, that his first bout against another really tough, really good dude, Dante Smiley, but he sent Dante to the moon in the opening round of the opening bout of Power Slap 13. And Ronda Rousey was sitting in the front row, and she really sold for it, put it over, and that clip went viral. That clip, I think, in its entirety has over 700 million views right now.
Wow.
So good luck pulling that off on an indie wrestling show. And now he's got promoters knocking down his door. I'm sure his rate went through the roof since then, and he'll be back, and he's going to make more money with Power Slap. Like the office really likes him and did a great job. And speaking of jobs, it's my job to crack the door of opportunity for these guys, and it's these guys and girls, chance to knock open that door. I crack the door, they kick it down. That's how it goes. And I think there's not just the purity of just going back and forth for 3 rounds, but like knowing, like, you don't have to ask a promoter permission. Oh, Mr. Promoter, sir, am I putting this guy over in 6 minutes or 12 minutes? Or am I a good guy? Am I a bad guy? Like in Power Slap, you do what you want. You represent yourself. You do a good job, you're climbing the ranks. If you don't, you don't. I think there's a purity in it.
Yeah.
I did a wrestling con in I did a wrestling con in St. Augustine, Florida, River City Wrestling, and Stunt Marshall did a match, and I thought it was very good. I was very impressed with his work. And then
after I hired him on, I checked out his stuff, and I thought he was. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean. I think there's a bit of a delay. I didn't mean to talk over you. Go ahead.
And,
sorry, Rudy.
Yeah, no problem. And I'm not gonna lie, I was skeptical about the Power Slap deal until I started asking around, and I, someone said, you can make, like you said, you can make 20 grand, and I'm like, you'll never make 20 grand. You'll never make 20 grand at an indie show, so more, more power to them, and I saw where he did do well. I think he knocked the kid out or something. I mean, so yeah, I mean, if it's a way to make money and good money, by all means, I wouldn't do it.
Here's the thing as well. Not only is it good money, but I mean with, Power Slap being under UFC and with WWE and UFC being under TKO, it's just a vortex for opportunities. I remember my very first meeting, with the office, and I'm sitting there with Dana White and his partners, and they basically said, hey, if we think Triple H needs to see one of these guys or girls, we'll just call him. So there's just so many things that could possibly happen. Yeah. So why wouldn't you want to take a chance?
Yes, exactly.
Right. Well, I know another guy that did it. Went to Power Slap that same weekend. He's in an indie promotion here in Panama City, XIW, Extreme Impact Wrestling. Jackson Slade. He did that show with you guys, and he didn't fare as well as Stunt Marshall, but I tell him I'm good friends with him. I told him, I said, it was impressive to see you even get up there. So, like you said, open doors.
That's the thing for people to know, like, even if you go up and lose, I mean, this is a shoot, so there's got to be a winner and there's got to be a loser, and Jackson Slade is no slouch, strong guy, nice guy, works real hard. And in the opening round, he got sent to the moon by Jordan Oasis, who was one of the kids I actually trained for pro wrestling. And the week before that, Jordan just got cut from the WWE ID program. Like when I signed him up, he was still on the WWE ID program. They were doing their house cleaning, and for whatever reasons, they let Jordan go. And I don't understand why, because, I mean, the kid can work. He is awesome. So good, and for whatever reason, above my pay grade, they let him go. And he just brought that much piss and vinegar up to that table. He swung for the fences. He did the work. He really practiced and really honed his shot in, and he just let it out in that first round. And he got Jackson Slade. And no disrespect to Jackson Slade, he is a bad dude. Real tough dude. I mean, he's built like a brick shit house. So I think it was just him getting his feet wet and the luck of the draw, losing that coin toss, the point toss. But that's kind of how it goes.
Yeah. Hopefully he'll go back there. I hope he'll get another shot. So.
Yeah, I hope so.
Okay.
If I have anything to do with it, they will.
Awesome. So back to you. How did the Carney concept of Kizarny first come about? And can you explain that?
I was a legit circus strongman and sideshow freak. I did all that kind of stuff legitimately. And when I got hired, Vince McMahon thought that was cool. And so he wanted to kind of put his own spin on it. And he came up with the name. And I remember him at ringside coming up to me and saying, hey, I know what your name's going to be. It's Kizarny. He's like, that's Carney for Carney. You get it? I'm like, yep, I sure do. Yeah. And he asked me if I could speak Carney, and I said, yes, this is I Kizan. And then I was, put in there he's like, well, great. Then you're just going to speak Carney. And I'm like, amazing. I love it. And then to Ron Hutchinson's credit, like, he taught us to always be a good soldier and take whatever was thrown at us and make it as good as we can. So I just took it as a challenge, and I wish I had some more time to get some wind under the sails, but it's his company and he can do what he wants. So there you go.
So you did some training under Jake the Snake.
What circus did you work for?
I worked for the biggest sideshow in the world. I worked for the Jim Rose Circus. I worked for Carnival Diablo. I worked for World of Wonders. Some of the biggest carnival and freak shows in the world. Jim Rose is basically he's kind of like the Vince McMahon of sideshow. And yeah, I learned a lot from Jim and the other performers at the various companies. And I think the weirdest, my biggest payday was never from WWE. My biggest payday was from the Jim Rose Circus. And the biggest audience I ever worked in front of was not for WWE. Again, no disrespect to WWE. I love it. That's the company I grew up watching as a kid. But I wrestled in, I think the biggest crowd for WWE, I was one of the druids for Undertaker at WrestleMania when he took on Batista. And we were all nervous because we were all just trying not to light each other on fire because we couldn't see where we were going. We were carrying these giant torches. And I want to say there was about 80,000 people there. And I just remember, don't set low key on fire. Don't set low key on fire. He was the druid right in front of me. And, but the biggest audience I ever performed in front of was for the Jim Rose Circus. We were opening for Guns N' Roses, doing our sideshow stuff in Sturgis back in the day, and it was in front of about 100,000 screaming bikers, and that was so intense. It was so awesome. But yeah, the biggest crowd I ever performed in.
Nice. So tell me about your experience with Jake the Snake and all the teaching that you did. What did he teach you? What kind of advice did he give you?
Oh, he taught me all sorts of stuff. Don't look both ways before you cross the street. Don't stick a fork in an electrical socket. All sorts of tricks. He taught me a lot of sneaky things. He taught me to use my instincts, use my wits, step back and kind of take a beat, really try to slow things down that was right in front of you, like think in chess, not in checkers. Don't think a move ahead, think 10 moves ahead and watch where the opponent's body goes and, what opportunities is that dance partner presenting to you and how to capitalize on those opportunities, and how to paint physical pictures as well as like storylines are easy. Like, oh, me and Rudy, we're long lost evil twins. Yeah. We can, that's all the sports entertainment side. We can, the writers can write whatever storylines they want for us. But as far as physical stories, like how to keep on coming back and reminding the audience that, Rudy's selling his eye because this diabolical clown, thumbed him in the eye, early on the match. So even as he's trying to, do what he's doing, he still keeps on registering his eye. Or we're just going back to certain things, just to show the legitimacy of, what kind of pain we're going through to generate empathy and sympathy and all that for the good guy and generate heat and anger for the bad guy. So the more that babyface gets over, the more they hate the bad guy, and the more they hate the bad guy, the more they love the good guy. And it's just sort of, it's secular, just goes round and round more and more. Right. But if we don't put over each other's stuff, we're playing tennis, and there ain't no heat in tennis. There's heat in war. If we just go, oh, his stuff, my stuff, his stuff, my stuff, and we're both healthy enough to run the ropes, lickety split, then we're like, well, what did we really do to each other? So why are they mad at me, or why are they have empathy for Rudy? If he's not doing anything to me and I'm not doing anything to him, then who gives a shit?
Right. Absolutely. 100%. That's awesome, man.
Right.
Go ahead, Rudy.
Yeah, like if I beat up Rudy for 10 minutes and all of a sudden he's if he can run around and hit the ropes and he's fine and he's A-okay, then why are they mad at me for hurting him because I didn't hurt him? And why are they feeling bad for him because he ain't hurt? So he's got nothing to prevail from. So it's just it's the double shits. But if he's really selling from underneath and he's fighting like that half robot Terminator, just keeps on crawling and not giving up, and it's pissing me off, and I keep on switching the heat up on him, then the audience is begging for him to get up and whip my ass, and the audience is pissed off and can't wait to see me get my ass whipped. So, if we put each other over, that's the winning formula. New school, old school, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
So there were a few times that I did some extra work with Vince, and in the meantime, they're during the shows they're doing the little vignettes with with Kizarny, and they did that for quite a while, a couple of months, I guess. And then you came on TV finally, and then just as fast you went on TV, you disappeared. What happened there?
I guess it's like breaking up with a girlfriend and you don't have any closure. To this day, I don't know why I got released. Some people say it was budget. Some people say, like when Johnny Ace called me, he said, "Well, creative's got nothing for you." I'm like, "Great, fire creative." I've been, training, forever for this, and I bust my ass doing this. Those creative guys, if they're too dumb to figure out something for this guy, who's pretty darn interesting, if I do say so myself, and fire the fucking writers, But that's not how it goes. So there you go. And then I went back years later as a coach, and they really appreciated me as a coach. I mean, I got my fingerprints on a lot of guys and girls that are on TV to this day. I remember laughing, like Norman Smiley said it to me one night. We were coaching together, and he goes, "Don't you find it kind of funny that the office trusts us to teach their upcoming guys that will eventually be in the main event, but they don't trust us to be in the ring, or they won't let us be in the ring?" And I said, "Yeah, when you figure it out, let me know." Just shows that just wrestling is just silly, crazy, topsy-turvy world. If you try to make sense out of it, you're just going to drive yourself bonkers. So there you go. Like trying to explain insanity, like wrestling is crazy.
You went as a coach.
Yeah, I was a coach at the PC. I was a guest coach
at the PC.
Yeah, I was a guest coach at the PC a bunch of times and had a blast. I loved it. I felt like a kid in Toys R Us at that performance center. It was awesome. Matt Bloom was the head guy there, and he was great. And
it's a nice.
Yeah, Triple H was awesome. Everybody was super cool. Everybody was cool. I really enjoyed that.
That's a nice facility, man.
Yeah,
I loved it.
Did you remember? Do you remember Eddie Murphy? Remember when he did that stand up? I think it might have been on Raw. It wasn't Delirious. I think it was Raw, when he said he was going to go to Texas. He's going to look for racism, and then he didn't find it, and everybody was really nice to him. And he was kind of like, "Fuck, what do I do?" And so I remember the first time I was going to go teach, I thought, when I was Kizarny back in the day, I was looking at everything through rose-colored glasses, and I remember thinking, okay, they brought me in to teach, and I just thought, I'm not going to put up with anything. I'm going to go there and I'm going to show them why I could be one of the best coaches they've ever had. And I'm not going to put up with a fucking thing. And I went there just waiting for somebody to get on my nerves. Nobody got on my nerves. Everybody was awesome. Everybody was super cool. I felt like Eddie Murphy in that thing. Like I went to Texas looking for, somebody to pick a fight with. And no, they were all nice. They were awesome. Triple H was nice. HBK was nice. Matt Bloom was nice. Karina was nice. You name everybody. Norman Smiley, Robbie Brookside, everybody. Like I've known a lot of these guys, from along the road. Like I knew Carino from shows. I knew Norman from FCW. I knew Robbie Brookside from way back in the day, wrestling him in the UK, before either of us ever set foot in a WWE ring, So I had a blast as a coach. I remember Triple H treated me like a freaking human. He looked at me and asked me questions, asked me what I thought. He was a really, really great boss. So I went there looking for some kind of fight, and then I was received with just awesomeness. So it was very eye-opening and very humbling, and I really, really enjoyed it.
So you worked with TNA and WWE, am I correct?
Same here, man. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did. I worked for both TNA and WWE. And yeah, I really enjoy coaching. I love coaching, and loved coaching at the PC. I love, for lack of a better term, coaching or to be in talent relations with Power Slap. I love coaching and doing seminars all across the world as I go to different independent wrestling shows. Yeah, I really, really enjoy coaching and doing seminars. It's a big highlight for me in my career. I really do love it.
Now, do you think indie wrestlers today don't receive you legends very well, or as well as you would have received when you were at a seminar or training as a kid growing up?
I think it's different now. I think some guys and girls are very eager to soak up some knowledge, but there's a lot of guys and girls that they don't want to be told anything, and that's up to them. and sometimes you're ignorant until you're not. You got a rude awakening, and you learn the hard way of why to work safe, or why to do this, why to do that. So I remember when I was younger, if some road guy, whether it was King Kong Bundy or Boogie Woogie Man Jimmy Valiant, or Demolition, or whoever gave me advice, I just soaked it up and said, yes, sir, thank you very much. And I enjoyed every word of wisdom from all those guys. Nowadays, I think a lot of the young guys are kind of busier looking at their phones and all that stuff. So, but not everybody. Like some guys and girls are very eager to learn. And, I'll spend my time going down the rabbit hole of various, bits of psychology or this or that or the other with the guys and girls that want to learn. And the guys and girls that don't, well, they'll be great. They'll be just fine.
So does Sinn or Kizarny have a good road story you'd like to share with us? I mean, you've named several
about
people.
What? I have too many. I have too many.
Give us one.
Point me in a direction, and I'll give you 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon of some story. What do you want to?
How about you and Edge and Christian? You ever travel together and have any
Yeah,
stories?
yeah. We grew up together, and then on SmackDown, we traveled very briefly. Christian had just come back from TNA, and I got brought up from FCW, and all of a sudden it was like we were in high school again. All three of us traveling, and we're having a good time. And then for whatever reasons, all of a sudden, just right out of the blue, like pretty much the same day, for whatever reason, Christian got sent to ECW, and I got my walking papers. So that meant all three of us weren't traveling together anymore. So why? I couldn't tell you to this day. But I'll tell you what I call a no payoff story, because it's just got nothing to do with anything except it's ridiculous. Speaking of traveling with Edge. So we would drive together and everything and fly together. But so one show I was flying in from someplace different, and my flight was getting in a little bit earlier than Edge. And so sometimes I would crash with him at his hotel rooms, but I couldn't afford the nice hotel rooms that he got. So he would just let me bunk with him because we were childhood buddies. So like, whatever. And then one night on developmental, they would give you hotel rooms and stuff. And so I had this free hotel room. So Edge was coming in super late. So I was just like, why don't you just crash with me in my room and save yourself a few bucks or whatever. So he was flying in before me. I was flying in super late. He goes, okay. So I get to the hotel. It's super late. And I'm walking him. I'm just about to swipe my hotel key, and my hotel room door comes flying open before I ever have a chance to swipe the key. And all of a sudden, Hornswoggle comes rolling out of, it's kind of like pitched out of the front door. And he comes rolling out, and he's wearing nothing but a pair of tighty whities. And he just comes it was like he was like Sonic the Hedgehog. He just came rolling out, tumbling. And I looked at him, and he looked at me, and he kind of growled, and then he ran away. I'm like, what the hell? And then as I take another step towards the door, Matt Stryker and Tommy Dreamer come walking out with their heads hung very low, like for shame, like they just looked like they had just been, wearing dunce caps or something. They looked like they were in timeout or something. And I looked at them, and they just kind of went, they shook their heads low, and they slinked off. And then Edge comes walking out, and Edge is wearing nothing but Hornswoggle's pants, which looked like some kind of skin tight little like knickers or capris or something on him, because Edge is 6'5" and Hornswoggle isn't. So, and he's just like, get out of here, you filthy little troll, and whatever he said or whatever. And he just looks at me and goes, oh, hey, man. And then he walked back into the room, and I just was like, look back at Dreamer and Stryker. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? They're like, nothing. Okay. And I was tired, so I just walked into the room and I went to sleep, and I didn't ask it. And she didn't tell it. That was that. So there's my story that has no conclusive ending. Like I said, I call it a no payoff story. But yes, it was a very strange bunking with Edge story. So there you go.
Well, thank you so much for that story. That's very.
You're welcome.
So, Rudy, got anything for my man?
To this day, I have no idea why any of that happened. I have no clue to this day. So I digress.
So today you're running what's the Future Stars of Wrestling?
I coach at Future Stars of Wrestling. I used to coach Monday, Tuesday, but just my schedule is so crazy. I just teach on Tuesday nights down in Vegas, Las Vegas, very close to the airport. It's a nice school. I coach there. Kenny King coaches there. Chris Bay coaches there. Sometimes TJP coaches
how's the
there.
school? How's the promotion going?
It's good. It's definitely the premier show in Las Vegas. As far as non-WWE shows, we do a lot of stuff with the WWE ID program there. We do all sorts of great stuff. We've done a lot of TNA stuff out of there. We ran the ID WWE IT tournament out of FSW during Las Vegas WrestleMania week that passed last year. I'm sure they'll be doing more this year. So yeah, it's always busy.
Benefit?
Pardon me?
Didn't you guys do a benefit for Chris Bay?
We did. Between his fundraiser and between the fundraiser, the GoFundMe for Chris and the pro wrestling show that we did at the Silverton Casino in Vegas. We raised a ton of money for Chris's medical bills, and so it was a pleasure to be a part of that. And all sorts of wrestlers came in from all over the world to help out with that. So which speaks to what a great guy Chris Bay is. From Karrion Kross to just so many guys. Karrion actually paid for a lot of the guys to fly in. So I thought that also speaks a lot to the character, not the sports entertainment character, but I mean the personal, internal character of Karrion Kross for doing that and helping out so much. I really have a lot of respect for both of those guys. Those are two guys that I helped.
Is
helping
Chris Bay in Las
train, so I'm
Vegas?
very flattered. What's that? What was that? Sorry.
Is Chris Bay out of Las Vegas?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, Karrion Kross and
how's he doing?
They both trained in Las Vegas at Future Stars of Wrestling with me and some other coaches. And Chris is busting his ass, and he's defying the odds. He's doing stuff that his body shouldn't be doing. He's really he's a superhero, man. He's awesome.
So you're in Vegas. You're partly part of the Cauliflower Alley Club,
Wow.
am I right?
Yep.
Tell us about tell fans why we should be a part of that. I know that yeah.
So Cauliflower Alley is it's a yearly reunion in Las Vegas. Many years ago, they opened it up to the public. Before, it used to be just for the wrestlers. It was kind of a closed industry thing, and they opened it up to the fans. It's a charity. It's a charity function that raises money for old school wrestlers that don't have enough money for their medical bills. So it's a really great organization. And last year, we brought back the live wrestling portion of the CAC, so that I produced that. We call it On the Fly, where wrestlers show up and they bring their gear. They show up and we parade them out, and that they're basically like the set deck, like they are the ring entrance. And then we have old school wrestling legends from the audience and fans from the audience randomly pick wrestlers to get in the ring and literally wrestle right then and there on the fly. And it's awesome. We just did our second show this past Cauliflower Alley. Brian Blair and Ron Hutchinson and all these guys were really receptive to it and really happy with the show that we put on, and all the young guys and girls really turned it up a notch and did great. They weren't allowed to talk about anything in the locker room. They had to literally be out in front of the fans the whole time. So they were organically picked, from Brian Blair, Cowboy Bob Orton, Haku, The Rock's mom, lots of wrestling fans. So there's no chance for there to be any kind of pre-planned, what have you. And a lot of those guys met for the first time ever in the ring. I was very, very proud of that, and we'll do that again this year.
Awesome. So after the show is over,
I will say that it was such a flattering thing for me sitting at ringside with some of my coaches, some of my other coaches. Jake the Snake is more of my mentor. And I spent a lot of time on the road with him, and he's a very good friend to this day. We were literally texting back and forth today. He actually sent me a text while we were on this podcast that I kayfabe, and I'll read it after we get off. But I was sitting at ringside with Dr. Tom Pritchard and Rip Rogers and Rock Riddle. So two of those guys, Rip and Doc, were two of my coaches, and Rock is a good buddy of mine for many years. And so to sit there amongst those three dudes, I was super proud that I could, hang with those guys and be accepted by them as peers. That's sort of a mental championship belt for me. I'm really, really thankful for that and humbled by that.
After this show is over, don't go anywhere. I'd like to talk to you a little bit for a few minutes about the Cauliflower Alley Club, if you don't mind. So
Okay.
I was scrolling through your Facebook, of course, and I'm intrigued by this because on my Wednesday show, I have a gentleman that recreates wrestlers by taking apart wrestlers, wrestling figures, and he creates these things. And I found this on your site, and then I know you're not only just a trainer, a wrestler, part of Power Slap, you also are an artist. This is something you've created. Can you talk to us about your artwork, and is it a 3D printing? What goes on? What is this all about?
Yeah, I'm a wrestler. I'm a booker. I'm a coach. I do tattoos. I 3D sculpt, paint, draw, write. Basically, a jackass of all trades. So there you go.
Right.
But yeah, those figures, I 3D sculpt them, then I 3D print them, and then I hand paint them. So I can basically make you whoever you want. So if you want me to make an action figure of Rudy and you want him to be in a tutu with a space helmet on, I can make that happen.
All right. And we've already talked about you're going to create one for me in December, man. I'd love to have a huge pop entertainment. I'd like to have a huge pop figure of my own, so I can say, "Hey, look." So
sure, no problem.
Rudy,
My
go
pleasure.
ahead, man.
How good would Rudy look with a space helmet and a tutu?
I don't want to see it.
I think there's a lot of fans out there that would want to see that. So place your orders.
I bet there are. Hey, Sinn, I just want to take this moment to years ago, and I was talking to Scott about this. Years ago, I brought you down for a show, and you worked with one of my students. And I've always wanted to bring you back. I just never had a chance to, just money wise and stuff like that. And so I just want to thank you. I don't know if I thanked you back then, but I'd like to thank you here for coming down and helping me out with that. I really did appreciate it.
Yeah, you were great to work for. I hope I did right by you. I always try to work hard.
No, I was completely 100% pleased. Everything was great. I just want to thank you for coming down.
No problem. Yes, that's how I feed my family, is wrestling and seminars and making those action figures and doing all that kind of stuff. And yeah, so any promoters that want me to come and do a seminar, do a match, happy to be a good guy or a bad guy. I think these days, I'm kind of like the Bull Durham of pro wrestling, where I roll into some town and wrestle the local good guy or the local bad guy and tell them, all right, more of this, less of this, tighten this up, kid, loosen that up, tighten this, do that. All right, thank you, got to go. That seems to be my usual weekend somewhere in some city, planet Earth.
So that leads me to my next question. Who wins, Kizarny or Sinn Bodhi?
Sinn Bodhi, hands down. Hands down.
Hands down, huh? All right.
Well,
So,
I know everything Kizarny knows, but Kizarny does not know everything Sinn Bodhi knows. So there's that.
There's that. So let's talk about Power Slap. Where do you see the future of Power Slap going? I mean, I was just introduced to it because I knew Jackson Slade was down there. Do you see this going a long ways, or is it just a phase that everybody's doing? Where's the future of Power Slap?
I mean, I hope it grows. They hired me on to help it grow. They hired me to kind of put the ketchup on the burger. Find interesting performers, competitors. Give ideas that will help it grow. I've been it's so parallel to wrestling. It is not pro wrestling, and I don't want to turn it into pro wrestling. But I mean, promoting the shows, growing the shows, expanding the shows, doing more shows. I think for the first couple seasons, they did 5 shows each year, and now they're in their 3rd year. We've already done 8 shows, and we might do a 9th show before the year is out. But in 2026, they're planning on doing at least 12 shows, which is, a lot more than they're used to. And they've done most of their shows in Las Vegas and overseas in like Saudi and Abu Dhabi. We did our first North American show outside of Las Vegas in New Orleans last month. That went really well. Every single show has been sold out. So I think in the new year, they want to do, from what I gather, they want to do about a quarter of those 12 shows in Vegas, a quarter of them overseas, Saudi, Abu Dhabi, and further in Europe, Asia, wherever. And then the other 4 of those shows throughout the States, whether it's Hawaii, New York, Texas, Florida, who knows? Stay tuned. I know Mecha Wolf wants us to do one in Puerto Rico, so we'll see how that goes.
All right. So who's the biggest star that you recruited for this Power Slap out of WWE or Indies?
So the very first call that I made as I started recruiting was the first. And so they asked me, they said, give us a batch of guys and girls, but then also give us your top 10, like your personal picks of who you think will really do the best. So the very first call was my number 1 pick. I thought he would knock it out of the park, and they loved him right away, was Jake Hager. He's All-American. He's former WWE champion. He's 3-0 at Bellator. The guy's 6'4", 6'5", jacked. He's battle tested. He can take it. He can dish it out. He's a good dude. He's a fun, flamboyant, interesting guy. And so the Power Slap office loved it. They're like, yep, we want him. And so he got excited. That little overzealous was rolling around in jiu-jitsu class and hurt his shoulder. And so now he's not competing for this season. So hopefully, or not so far this season. So hopefully, we'll see. Keep your fingers crossed. Keep your foreign objects crossed. We'll see if we'll see Jake Hager, Jack Swagger, standing across from somebody at the Power Slap table. But he was my very first guy, first pick, first pitch. And I've been buddies with him for a long time. He's a good dude, and he's tough as nails and just a great guy. I've got a lot of people in there. Stunt Marshall did great. Haley J did great. Jordan Oasis did great. There's just tons of guys and girls. Zeta Zhang, Julia, aka Julia Will Killaho, from NXT. She kicked ass. Lot of great wrestling friends of mine. Coming up in Abu Dhabi, you're going to see. I don't know if I'm going to break it here or not, but you're going to see it soon enough. It'll be former Lucha Underground heavyweight champion Marty the Moth versus Zicky Dice at Power Slap. So I think I'm breaking that here for the first time. So stay tuned. That should be pretty darn interesting. I think those guys will tear the fabric of time. And I've got a lot of other guys locked and loaded, waiting for the opportunity. Like when I delivered guys and girls for the combines, at the UFC Apex in Vegas, Dana White and his partners just were like, "Holy shit! You really brought us a busload of crazy people." It was like something between the Keanu Reeves replacements and Con Air, maybe with a touch of the Police Academy movies. They all jumped off the bus like a bunch of lunatics, and so I just looked at them and I said, "Yes, that's right. Yes, sir." So I'm very proud of the guys and girls that I brought to the table and will continue to bring to the table. There's a ton more to come. Zoe Dubois, she's tough as nails. She's an indie girl, and she's going places with Power Slap. She's awesome. I've got a lot of other people in the woodworks. Kami Adams, who is an MMA competitor, she'll be coming up pretty soon. And she'll actually, I'll break this here as well. She will be playing Mrs. Claus at my yearly kids fundraiser wrestling show. It's a free show that we do up here on the edge of Death Valley, about an hour out of Vegas, for all the underprivileged kids. And if I can give you a cheap plug, that will be Sunday, December 21, here in the town of Pahrump. It's on the edge of Death Valley. I'll have all sorts of awesome wrestlers guest appearing. How could I forget Juicy Fineu? He was another power slap guy. He'll be on the Christmas charity show. Last year, I was super proud. We did the Christmas charity show, and we fed and gave toys and stocking stuffers to just over 2,000 kids, 2,000 underprivileged kids, which I thought was super cool. I will say using our wrestling powers for good, man, does help me sleep at night. So that was really super cool.
Well, I do say I'm working with foster kids, and then hear that you work with underprivileged kids. My heart goes out to you, my friend. That's amazing that you do that. That's you're a busy man, but yet you put on a charity event to help those that can't get Christmas, and that's amazing. So
hell yeah, we did some charity stuff. We gave out kids candy to kids at this. We did the fall parade. My wife and I built a float for the parade. We had the wrestlers on this float. We made it out of kind of a giant wrestling ring, and the wrestlers literally wrestled on this float for 2 miles in front of all these kids. And so we won like the most creative float, and so that was super cool. And in this town, so the first year we did we call it Winter Wonder Slam is the name of the wrestling charity show. And as I came to the ring and looking all crazy, I figured I didn't plan on cutting a promo, but I figured it's my show. I'll do what I want. So I grabbed the mic, and I just remember sort of telling the audience something to the effect of, out and about, I might be a notorious rule breaker, but this is my new hometown, and I plan on living here forever. So even if I break rules, when I leave the state or leave the country, the devil protects his backyard, and I want all the kids and people to know that when they see me in the grocery store or the gas station or wherever, to know that I'm a safe person in this town, and they can rely on me and count on me. And if I don't have parents and kids and old timers and everybody and townsfolk to this day come, oh, you're the crazy wrestling guy, you're our guy. And it puts a frog in my throat, just knowing that we can, make some of these kids happy. So, I mean, that's super important to me.
That's awesome, man. Rudy, you got any more questions before we let this guy go?
What do you want to know, Rudy? What's in your brain, Rudy?
Yeah, come on.
Tell me what's on your mind, Rudy. What's in your brain, Rudy? Tell me what that hamster spinning that wheel is thinking. What do you got? I can hear so I got my house is riddled full of different dogs, and I've got baby gates around my house for the different dogs, because some of our rescues, they have special kind of things going on, like with some dogs that came from a real abuse thing. So I've got all these different critters on my funny farm here, and I can hear my little blind poodle. He wants to go outside. It's his turn, so he's like, come on, asshole, get this podcast moving so I can go potty outside. So I don't want to get my little blind poodle Rambo hot. I don't want to get him upset. So what do you want? What do you want, Rudy? What the hell do you want?
You got any shows you want to plug, or in the school or anything, or you got anything coming up?
So this week I fly out to Abu Dhabi for Power Slap, and then right from Abu Dhabi we fly to Riyadh in Saudi Arabia for Power Slap. So you can check that out on YouTube, and you can find it on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. It's pretty easy to find. Just came back from a really cool independent wrestling show that I do every so often. It was in Florida. It's Atomic Legacy Wrestling. Really good show. Just wrestled Ryzen. It was a good guy. We beat each other up pretty good, and that was a lot of fun.
I know him.
Yeah, he's a good dude. And teach at Future Stars of Wrestling. So if anybody out there wants to, if you're already wrestling and you want to drop in and take a class, I'll teach you some stuff, some tricks, some wrestling tricks, some old school stuff, how to mix it with some new school stuff. I'll teach you how to blend that old school peanut butter with that new school jelly and make a hell of a sandwich, whether you're brand new or you're 5 years in or 10 years in. I always giggle when I hear I'm a 5-year vet or I'm a 10-year vet. Like, that's such an oxymoron. It makes me laugh, but at the same time, like, come on in and I'll answer questions you don't even know to ask yet. Help you out if I do say so myself. And there you go. So and if you're a promoter, if you want to book me on a wrestling show or on a seminar and a wrestling show, just find me on my Instagram or my Twitter or my Facebook. It's all Sinn Bodhi, SINNBODHI. Or if you want a custom figure of yourself where you're You know, if you're a wife and you want to get your husband a custom action figure, that's always that happens kind of quite often, to be honest. I'll get like some indie wrestler's wife or some or boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, getting them a surprise gift. So there you go. If you want an action figure yourself, hit me a message. If I survive tonight before my little blind poodle doesn't clobber me, so there you go.
All right,
he just quiet down. Now that I stopped putting him over, he stopped scratching on the door. I'll let him out in a second.
Well,
there you go, guys. He's like, forget you. I'll keep on scratching.
He heard you. So Huge Pop Entertainment fans, Sinn Bodhi fans, Rudy Gonzalez fans, thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you for being on the show, Sinn. I appreciate your stories. I love hearing about Power Slap. I'll be following you on that YouTube channel, etc. Rudy, thanks for being part of it. Please do not go anywhere, guys. After I close the show, I'd like to talk to you off the air real quick. Again, it's Huge Pop Entertainment. Again, thank you guys for being a part of the show. I love you guys. You're amazing.